Imagine someone says to you, I only eat pizza on weekends.
Okay, yeah. Sounds like a pretty normal diet.
Right. Perfectly normal. I mean, they probably maintain a balanced diet Monday through Friday, maybe some salads, lean proteins. But Saturday rolls around and they just treat themselves.
Sure.
But now imagine they say, I eat only pizza on weekends.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. One of the people is enjoying a weekly cheat meal. The other is on this terrifying 48-hour continuous binge of cheese and dough, right? Consuming literally absolutely no other sustenance.
That's a very different weekend.
It really is.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are looking at how moving a single four-letter word just one space to the right can completely rewrite reality.
It is honestly pretty jarring when you lay out the stakes like that.
Right?
Yeah, so our foundation for today is this really focused breakdown from an English learning program called English Decoded. And our mission, basically, is unpacking the outsized, almost invisible impact of two tiny, seemingly interchangeable words, just and only.
And I really want to frame this for you listening because this is way beyond a standard grammar lesson. You really should think of this as a masterclass in human psychology and nuance.
Oh, absolutely.
Because even fluent native speakers just take these two words completely for granted. I mean, we use them dozens of times a day. But as we're about to see, if you mix them up or even place one in the slightly wrong spot, you completely alter the literal meaning of a sentence.
Yeah, or shift the whole timeline of events.
Exactly. Or you just fundamentally change the emotional tone of your message.
It's so true. We tend to think of language as this, massive toolkit. And when we want to make a big impact, we reach for the heavy machinery, right?
Like the big vocabulary words.
Exactly. The complex vocabulary, the really dramatic metaphors. And we just completely ignore the tiny structural pieces that are actually holding the entire house together.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I like to think of just and only as a pair of identical twins.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, because when you first meet them, they look exactly the same. They wear the same clothes, they hang out at the same parties, they seem to do the exact same job. But then, once you really get to know them, you realize they have entirely different personalities.
Different quirks.
Yeah, quirks, and totally different rule books for how they operate in the real world.
Well, to understand why they are so easily confused in the first place, we really have to start by looking at where those twins overlap.
The illusion of sameness.
Right. We need to look at their shared function. The foundational job of both of these words is limitation. They basically draw a hard boundary around something.
And the primary example laid out in the material is incredibly straightforward. It's just, I only have $5.
Yeah, and in that case, you're setting a clear, undeniable boundary. You have $5, and that word only tells the listener that you have absolutely no more than that.
The limit is mathematically set.
Exactly.
And here's where the identical twin thing happens, right? Because you can swap the words and say, I just have $5.
Okay.
And the reality of your wallet remains exactly the same. You are still limited to that single $5 bill. So in this specific context, they are perfectly interchangeable.
Yeah, they both effectively signal that restriction. Whether you use only or just, the listener understands that, you cannot afford the $10 item.
Okay, but I have to push back on this from a purely logical standpoint.
Okay, go for it.
If both of these words do the exact same job of limiting something to $5, why does English even need both of them?
That's a fair question.
It feels like carrying around two hammers in the same toolbox. It's redundant. I mean, why isn't just simply a useless duplicate of only?
Well, the redundancy is an illusion. And this is where the source material takes a really fascinating pivot. Because if only and just were exactly the same, they would have just merged into a single word centuries ago.
Okay, so how do they differ?
So only is rigid. It hits a wall at literal limitation. That is its primary dominating function. Just, on the other hand, operates more like a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, it breaks away from strict limitation and takes on completely different jobs related to time and human interaction.
So the twins diverge.
Exactly.
Twin number one, only, is obsessed with limits. Twin number two, just, also does limits, but kind of moonlights in other departments.
That's a great way to put it. Let's look at the first departure, which is recent time.
Okay.
Think about someone walking through the door late to a meeting. They don't usually say, I arrived. They say, I just arrived.
Right. Or you might tell a friend, the bus just left, or we just finished dinner.
Exactly. You're using it to talk about time.
They're using just as a temporal anchor.
Yeah. And when we break down the mechanics of why that works, the concept of limitation is actually still there, but it has morphed.
Morphed out.
You're taking the concept of a limit and applying it to the clock. You are limiting the time gap between the action occurring and the present moment to 0.
Oh, wow. Never thought of it that way.
Right. You are telling the listener that the action is parked directly next to the present moment.
Which makes the failure of only in this scenario so obvious.
Completely.
Because you cannot swap the twins here. If I walk into that late meeting and say, I only arrived, people are going to just stare at me waiting for the rest of the sentence.
Yeah, the sentence falls apart because only reverts back to absolute limitation.
Ah, right.
So I only arrived implies that arriving was the singular action you took, as opposed to, say, unpacking your bag or greeting the host.
It completely severs the connection to recent time.
Exactly, and it leaves the listener profoundly confused about what you're even trying to communicate.
That is a subtle shift, but the stakes are actually pretty high for avoiding confusion.
Definitely.
But the second departure, the material highlights for just, has nothing to do with time or limits, right?
No, not at all.
It has to do with the tone of human interaction. It's this softening effect.
Yes. The phrases we use constantly, like, I just wanted to ask a question, or can I just check something?
I do this constantly at work.
Oh, we all do.
Literally all the time. If I'm writing an email to a colleague and I type, I want to ask a question, I will literally sit there staring at the screen, feeling like it sounds way too aggressive, like it's a demand.
It feels too blunt.
Yeah. Then I go back, type, I just wanted to ask a question, and suddenly I sound like a polite, collaborative team player.
It works like magic.
It acts like a linguistic shock absorber, right? Cushioning the sentence when we navigate social situations.
It's ubiquitous. But if we analyze the psychology of what you are doing in that email, you are actually still employing the core concept of limitation.
Wait, really? How does adding a word that means limit magically make me sound more friendly? Usually, restrictive words make things sound rigid.
It's all about what you are choosing to limit.
Okay.
When you say, I just want to ask a question, you aren't limiting your wallet and you aren't limiting the clock. You are limiting your imposition on the other person.
Oh, I see.
You are signaling to your colleague, do not worry. The demand I am placing on your time and your energy is incredibly small. It is limited strictly to this one tiny question.
Wow. So you are proactively shrinking the perceived burden of the interaction?
Exactly.
It's funny how we instinctively use limitations to make people feel comfortable. By emphasizing the smallness of the request, we soften the social friction.
Precisely.
So can I just check something?
Yeah.
Essentially translates to, I promise this won't take long. I am keeping the interruption to an absolute minimum.
Right.
We are essentially weaponizing a boundary to create politeness.
The listener subconsciously registers that you respect their time. You're minimizing the threat level of the interaction.
Okay, I'm wrapping my head around just being this soft, fuzzy, polite cushion.
All right.
But, and here's where I get stuck.
Ah.
I'm confused by the next concept because the material throws an absolute curveball here. We have to talk about the paradox of just.
Ah, yes. The shift from softening to absolute precision.
Yes. The material points out that just is simultaneously used to mean exactly, with rigid, absolute precision.
Right.
The classic examples from the text are, that's just what I needed, or this is just right.
Uh-huh.
How can a listener how can you, if you are trying to decode a conversation in real time, rely on a single word that acts as a fuzzy, polite cushion in one breath, while meaning something is exactly, rigidly right in the next?
It sounds like a total contradiction, doesn't it?
It is a complete contradiction.
Well, so just creates precision through context. It relies entirely on the words surrounding it.
Okay, explain that.
Think about the phrase, this is just right. The word right already implies a state of correctness.
Sure.
When you drop just in front of it, it does not soften the correctness. It intensifies the precision by excluding all other possibilities.
Oh, it acts like a magnifying glass on the exactness.
Exactly. It is limiting the possibilities to 0 other options.
Right.
Just what I needed means the thing you received aligns perfectly with the gap you had. It's not almost what you needed. It's not partially what you needed. It's exactly it. Yes. The limitation here works by excluding everything except the absolute perfectly correct thing.
It is the difference between a soft cushion and a puzzle piece snapping perfectly into place.
That's a perfect analogy.
So context dictates the personality of the twin.
Very much so.
But while just adapts to its environment and relies heavily on context, only does not care about context at all.
Not even a little bit.
It relies entirely on cold, hard geography. Its exact placement in the sentence dictates reality. This is what we call the only trap.
Word position is critically important for only, far more so than almost any other common modifier in English.
I picture only like a high-powered spotlight on a very dark stage.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Wherever you place it in the sentence, the word immediately to its right gets completely isolated in that beam of light, and the rest of the sentence just falls away into darkness.
Yes, exactly.
Let's revisit that dietary nightmare from the opening, because it perfectly illustrates this spotlight.
Let's do it.
Example A. I only eat pizza on weekends.
Okay, so if we analyze the syntax tree of that sentence, the spotlight, the word only, is modifying the time frame that comes after the core action. It illuminates on weekends.
Right.
Therefore, the listener understands that weekends are the exclusive time this activity occurs.
So the spotlight shines on Saturday and Sunday. The rest of the week is salads.
Exactly.
But then shift the spotlight one single space to the right. Example B. I eat only pizza on weekends.
And suddenly, the entire universe of the sentence collapses down onto a single noun.
The spotlight is now directly on pizza.
Yes. You have entirely excluded all other consumable items.
You are drinking pizza sauce instead of water.
Basically.
The stakes of syntax are incredibly dramatic here. A tiny geographical change doesn't just tweak the nuance, it fundamentally rewrites the facts.
It really does.
Think about how many arguments probably happen because of this spotlight effect. Imagine someone defending themselves in an argument and saying, I only told John that I loved him.
Oof. Yeah, so in that case, the spotlight is on the action of telling, I only told John. Meaning, I didn't actually love him, I just said the words.
Oh, man. If they shift the word one space to the right, I told only John that I loved him.
Now the spotlight is on John.
Right.
The love is real, and it is completely exclusive to him.
Wow. One sentence means you are lying about your feelings, and the other sentence means you are deeply committed to one person.
Yep.
That is the power of a four-letter word placed in the wrong spot. It illuminates whatever it touches, and if it touches the wrong word, you destroy a relationship.
Or you sound like a dietary maniac.
Exactly.
But, understanding the spotlight analogy or the shock absorber analogy in a vacuum is helpful, but the real challenge is recognizing these mechanics when they are dancing together in everyday life.
Right, because nobody talks in a vacuum.
Exactly, which is why the material provides a real-world conversation to synthesize all of these rules.
So think about a completely standard interaction. Guy walks in the door and says, I just got home.
Instantly, he's using that first rule we talked about, the temporal anchor.
He arrived a moment ago.
Yeah.
He is limiting the time gap to 0.
Spot on.
His partner asks, long day, and he replies, yes, I only slept 4 hours.
Here, the master of limitation enters the conversation. Only is drawing a hard, absolute boundary around those 4 hours.
The spotlight hits the number 4.
Yes. It is emphasizing the lack of sleep by highlighting the strict limit. It wasn't 7, it wasn't 8, it was mathematically restricted to 4.
Okay, so then the partner says, that's not much. And he replies, I just need some rest.
Now, this specific line operates on 2 psychological levels simultaneously.
Really? How so?
First, it is softening. He is minimizing the drama of his exhaustion.
Oh.
He is saying, I do not need a hospital. I do not need a 3-week vacation. I just need some rest. He is shrinking the burden of his problem.
I see.
But it is also acting as a limitation on the solution. He is saying rest is the singular, exclusive thing required to fix the problem.
It is the polite cushion and the absolute boundary working in tandem. I just need some rest.
Exactly.
And the partner finishes with, good idea. I mean, it is the most mundane conversation imaginable. You listening probably had a version of it this week.
Almost certainly.
But when you look under the hood, the mechanical gears of just and only are driving the entire emotional narrative of the exchange.
They really are. And the material tests this by mapping the concepts backward.
What do you mean?
If you arrived 2 minutes ago, you intuitively say, I just arrived. If you have $3, you intuitively say, I only have $3.
Oh, right.
And if you want to sound polite and non-threatening, you say, I just wanted to ask something.
That makes total sense. But that raises the ultimate question for you, listening to this deep dive. How do you actually train your brain to catch these incredibly subtle shifts in real-time conversation? Nobody has the time to pause a live conversation, map out the syntax tree, and ask themselves if the speaker is using the softening cushion or the rigid spotlight.
No, definitely not. If you stop to analyze the gears, the conversation has already moved on without you.
Right.
The practical advice for internalizing this relies entirely on immersion and active listening. You cannot learn to ride a bicycle by reading physics equations about balance and momentum, right?
No, you'd fall right over.
Exactly. You learn by feeling the balance. Language acquisition works the exact same way.
The more examples you hear, the easier it becomes.
Yes. By actively listening for just and only in the media you consume, the podcasts, the movies, the real-life conversations around you, your brain begins to subconsciously map the patterns.
You stop hearing your rules.
And you start feeling the intent.
You start feeling the shock absorber instead of analyzing the limit. You intuitively see the spotlight hit the wrong word without having to draw a diagram.
Exactly. Active listening transforms abstract theory into effortless comprehension. You eventually reach a point where the nuance is processed completely automatically.
Let's bring all of these threads together then. What is the core takeaway from this exploration into English Decoded?
Well, if we synthesize the mechanics, only is the master of limitation. It sets hard mathematical boundaries.
It relies on geography.
Yes, its placement in a sentence acts like a high-powered spotlight that isolates whatever sits immediately to its right.
Well, just is the multi-tool.
Exactly.
It can handle basic limitation, absolutely, but its true power lies in its extra features. It carries the tools for anchoring recent time, proactively softening social friction, and locking in exact, rigid precision based on context.
It really is a fascinating word.
It is. So the call to action for you is to take this out into the wild. The next time you are sitting in a meeting or watching a movie, do not just passively let the dialogue wash over you.
Very active listening.
Actively listen for the twins. Try to catch someone using just as a timekeeper. Try to catch a colleague using it to politely cushion an interruption in an email. Notice when the spotlight of only lands on the time frame versus the noun.
Once you tune your ear to it, you will hear it everywhere. You won't be able to stop hearing it, actually.
You really will. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. We spent a lot of time on that pizza example and the destroyed relationship example because they point to something profoundly fragile about human communication.
Very true.
We build our entire understanding of each other on these tiny linguistic foundations. If simply shifting the position of the word only by one single spot changes a sentence so drastically, like going from someone eating a balanced diet to someone consuming nothing but pizza for an entire weekend, how many times in our lives have we completely misunderstood a friend, a partner, or a colleague?
Wow.
Or how many times have we been entirely misunderstood ourselves simply because of the placement of a single four-letter word?
It definitely forces you to reconsider the power of precision.
It really does. Something to keep in mind the next time you think a tiny word doesn't matter. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.